take this opportunity to most sincerely thank the good Lord for the mercies showered upon me and for the opportunity to stand here or to sit here before this distinguished gathering. I am also grateful and I appreciate most sincerely both the invitation accorded to me by the Pontifical Academy of Science and Social Sciences and the sponsorship accorded to me by my parent association, IAWJ. Also to be appreciated is my parent institution, the Kenya Judiciary, through the Honorable the Chief Justice of the Republic of Kenya and the President of the Supreme Court of Kenya, as well as the entire sisterhood of the IAWJ Kenya chapter, led by our President who is here. I'm proud to be part of this distinguished gathering whose sole purpose is not only to say a big no to the global human trafficking, but also to pool efforts, resources, and also to speak with one voice against this most heinous and degrading vice of human trafficking. I'm also here to learn, share, and exchange views on global best practices on combating the vice. The wealth of knowledge gathered by myself, as well as my fellow sisters from Kenya, who are also part of this distinguished gathering, will go a long way to enrich the current judicial efforts in assisting the nation combat the vice at the national level through judicial pronouncements. And I have posed a question: is Kenya's response to the call to combat human trafficking necessary? The answer is a big yes. The reason being that such efforts would not only be commendable, but it will also be well-founded on the international and human rights instruments that my sister has mentioned, and which Kenya has acceded to, and for this reason, it is only good for Kenya to team up with other like-minded global community members in combating this now global vice of human trafficking. The second reason is that, as my sister has said, Kenya is a nation being bound by the principles of state responsibility is not immune from this vice, both as a perpetrator through its own citizens who may engage in the vice on the one hand, and as a victim also through its own citizens who may fall prey to the perpetrators. On the other hand, by reason of the above, it follows that Kenya as a nation cannot fold its arms and sit and watch. And I will just rush because my sister has covered some ground on the legal frameworks that Kenya has put forward. As enabling tools, we have a direct application, provision for direct application of international instruments, including those ones on human trafficking, and provided for under Article 2.5 and 2.6 of our Constitution. It has also put in place legal frameworks. The major one is the Counter-Trafficking in Persons Act number 8, which my sister has mentioned. I'll not go into it. We have specifically Article 28, which provides that every person has inherent dignity and the right to have that dignity respected and protected. And since human trafficking is a form of human indignity, the same is outlawed by this article. Then we have other supportive acts in place. We have like the Legal Aid Act. It provides for legal aid for persons, for nationals and indigent persons, inclusive of persons who may have been trafficked. We also have the Children's Act, my sister has mentioned. It makes provision for the protection of a child from physical and psychological abuse, neglect, and any other form of exploitation, including sale, trafficking, or abduction. We have the Kenya Citizenship and Immigration Act number 20 of 2011. It contains section 53, which makes provision for general offenses, which include offenses committed by a person or persons who smuggle or who engage in smuggling, inclusive of human beings. And then we have the Merchant and the Shipping Act also. It has a provision on that. The Criminal Procedure Code has an amendment also touching on counter trafficking, then the sexual offenses, and all these are the legal frameworks which we have. And I have sampled a few cases to show that actually they are being applied in our courts. Now, the first case, the appellant was charged and convicted on plea of the offense of guilty for the offense of promotion of trafficking in persons, contrary to section 5D of the Act, and he was fined. He was sentenced. When it went on appeal, the High Court did a thorough job and confirmed the conviction. In another case, the appellant was charged and convicted of the offense of trafficking of persons under the same legislation. And on the High Court, after a thorough analysis of the evidence, the High Court found that there were flaws in the trial, but the accused person was not let off. Instead, the High Court ordered a retrial, and that shows how the courts are taking the offense of trafficking as a serious offense, but there is still more to be done. And we also have non-governmental organizations operating under a legal framework for that basis, dealing with the trafficking. And in conclusion, I say we are on the right track, but we need training of our judicial officers and sensitization of the community. Some, our own people, do not know that giving out a child to a stranger for work or for what that amounts to trafficking. Thank you.